I'm Vitaliy Bondarenko. I'm a software engineer in Amazon for about 2 years, and I'd like to share some tips with you how to be successful in the interview. So I'm pretty sure you already get a bunch of information from your recruiters. What I would like to share with you is my personal experience, how I prepared myself to Amazon, and also experience based on my interviews that I performed for Amazon. So there are a couple of things I want to talk about. First of all, and it is very important when you describe your experience, when you got the behavioral questions about the leadership principles, try to be very specific and always use I instead of we. So don't. So please understand that the interviewer needs to get the information from you about what you have done in the project that you are describing, what you have done in the companies you are working for. Sorry, and when you say we, it gives nothing about your contribution. So it is okay to use we in the introductory stage when you describe the project that you worked on. But when talking about your personal contribution, please always use I and be very specific about it. What I also want to say about being very specific. Please rethink your experience in terms of the impact you have done for the project. I'll give you some example. Let's assume I worked on some company that was doing document processing software. This was kind of client's server software with different stages, like the scanning stage for the document recognition stage, the verification stage, and the expert stage. And I developed a network communication component which made the network communication 50% faster. So I can say, for example, I made a network communication component for this kind of software, which makes the network communication 50% faster. And you may think that this is great, but actually it says almost nothing about the impact that you did for the project. What I encourage you to do, I encourage you to think about your work much deeper in terms of the impact. For example, if I have this network component done, then I'm asked myself, what was the impact of this? So who was actually using this component? And the answer is okay, other teams in the company who built the scanning component, the recognition component, and other components used this network component. What was the impact of that? The impact of that was that they were able to improve the overall performance by 20%. What was the impact of that? Well, actually, since this project was done about 10 years ago, there was almost no cloud, and customers who bought our product must also buy the bare metal hardware. It turned out that this advancements that I made allowed the customers to save 20% on the hardware costs and then on the maintenance cost. And this is not bad. This just shows the direct impact that you did for the customers of your company. Any other impact? Well, actually, yes. Since our customers could save money, our product became cheaper for customers, and comparing to competitors, it became better. So next year, just because of this feature, we could get 10% more customers for our company. And this is the impact, actually. So you see that this kind of chain thinking about what was the impact, what is brought for your company, what is brought for your product, can show your experience in much better way. Just compare. I developed the network communication component that made the network communication 50% faster, and I developed the network communication component which made the network communication 50% faster, which leads to making 10% more customers for our company, and for our customers to save 20% on their hardware budget. So if you think about those impact, it's uncomparable. And this is what I encourage you to do. I think that this will be very valuable for your interviewer to see this kind of impact. Next thing that I want to tell you is about the coding. So how to approach coding. I'm sure you're prepared for with a lot of tasks from LeetCode or from HackerRank, but sometimes on the interview you ask the question that actually sounds not familiar to you, and you try to think in one way and then in another way, and then you feel you're kind of stuck, and you don't exactly know which way to go, and so on and so on. And the interviewers try to help you, and sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't. So my approach to this, I just want to share with you my approach to this. It is not necessarily the only one approach, but at least it was considering. So when I approach the coding interview task, I use the 7-step approach. So first, it's very important, I ask about the constraints. Second, I try to come up with the examples. When I come up with an examples, quite often the solution idea comes in mind. How can I solve this problem? When I have the solution idea, I immediately think, what is the complexity of this solution? Is it worth implementing it, or it's the time complexity, for example, is too complex and it will never go to production. So next, this is the 5th step. Can we do better? It might be that you will come up with a better solution, or maybe not. The 6th, and only the 6th step, is actually coding. When you have the idea, when you understand how to create, how to solve the problem, then you show that you can transfer this idea to the code. This is very important. And 7, this is tests. So when testing your solution, please try to test it carefully. Please just imagine that you are a debugger. Just imagine that that you have to check that your code is actually doing what you want. I've seen a couple of guys who were just writing the test cases and thinking that it's enough, and because of that they missed some simple mistakes, like up to 1 error and so on. So I will give you some example, some extremely easy example. Let's do that. Let's assume that we have a task about the binary search. So you have an array, a sorted array, and you have to find the element. So first I ask about the constraints. It may be, is element always exist in an array? How long could be the array? Is it the array that is given from the beginning, or it's kind of a stream of let's assume that I got those answers. So this is not a stream. This is just a fixed array up to 10,000 elements. So then I come up with an example. So one element example. This is trivial. I just check whether this element is the given element. The two elements in the array, I also check like the first one, if not, then the second one. Those are not very interesting. The three elements in the array, well, I check the middle element. And if it's the element that I'm looking for, I found it. If not, that then I go either left or right, depending on whether the middle element is less or greater than the element I'm searching for. Then the 4 elements array. So, okay, here I cannot reach the middle element, which is something to consider when I will write the code. So I I take maybe the floor, or like the lowest closest element to the middle, and do the same procedure. So as I come up with these examples, I see that, okay, I have to reach the middle of the array, and then I either found the element, or I go left or right, depending on whether the element is less or greater. So I have the solution idea. What is the complexity of the algorithm? Okay, so each time I divide the the array to 2 more or less equal parts up to 1 element, so the complexity is log n. Can we do better? Okay, in this case, we came up with a quite optimal approach, because it's a very easy example. In the real-time situation, and I had this as well, it might happen that actually you found the solution that is good enough for your interviewer to be implemented. It was once on my interview, I found some solution. It looks like it's not that optimal. I described the solution to my interviewer, and I asked myself loudly, can we do better? And the interviewer told, no, it's okay. So just implement this algorithm. And after the interview, I looked, I Googled this problem, and I saw that actually there exists slightly better solution, but it's very hard to implement. It's not doable in 1 hour interview. So this is also an advantage of thinking loud. So the interviewer will guide you if you will try to go to the direction that will lead you nowhere. Okay, so only after that you write the code. You've written the code, then you can test it. The examples that you have will help you to test, because you may also you may already see some edge case examples, and you might have already some pretty good test coverage with your examples. So this is about coding. And the last but not least, what I encourage you to do mock interviews for each other. I have seen in the previous event that the guys who was doing this, they were much more successful. When you do the mock interview from the company side, you're getting used to see how it looks like when somebody thinks loud, how it looks like when somebody writes on the whiteboard. And then I promise you, You will rethink how you are doing this. When you on the candidate side, you will you will get a feeling what it is actually a 1 hour interview, or actually, well, for pure coding, you will see you will have maybe 35 minutes, and you will see that it's actually very tight schedule. It's very tight. It's not that much time that you can think of many ideas and the best ideas in the world. So you will get used to this time constraints. You will get used to writing on the whiteboard, and so on and so on. So I really encourage you to do this, at least to try this. So that's it. That's all I wanted to share with you today. I wish you all good luck in the event, and see you.